Hello, I'm Stephanie and welcome to another episode of Scary Chat. This week we are showcasing the scariest movie of April, and it happens to be The Strangers. It's written and directed by Bryan Bertino and it stars Scott Speedman and Liv Tyler. Okay, so this movie is scary and it's pretty creepy, and I happened to watch it, I think either last year or the year before, by myself. Big mistake, but it made for a really scary movie. So it starts off with these characters, Kristen and James, and they're driving back from a friend's wedding, and they're going back to James's family home in the middle of nowhere. And they're like pretty sad and no one's talking. And so when they get back to his family's house, we realize that he proposed to her and she rejected him. So it's really awkward. So they talk a little bit and they're upset, and then they calm down and decide to start making love, and there's a knock on the door. This random chick comes to the house and we can't see her because the light's out and it's dark, and she asks if Tamara's home. So they're like, no, there's nobody by that name that lives here. And she's like, are you sure? Like, what do you mean am I sure? I live here. Nobody by the name of Tamara lives here. So then as she's leaving, she says, see you later. What do you mean, see you later? I don't think so. But they should have paid attention to that. Talk about ruining the mood. So Kristen's out of cigarettes and James decides to go get her some. Ding, ding, ding. Red flag, red flag. If he's going, I'm going. There's no way I would have let him just leave me at home and it's not even my house, in the middle of nowhere, when some creepy kid just came to the door and asked if some random chick was there. No, I would have been in that car with him and we would have gotten those cigarettes together. So James is gone and Kristen starts hearing these loud banging noises against the front door. She goes to check and the girl's back and asks if the same chick is there. So then Kristen locks the door and she's freaking out, and she tries to call for help, but her cell phone's dead. So she charges her phone, she tries to call with the house phone, but she calls James instead of 911. And he's like telling her to calm down or whatever. So she changes her clothes. She's waiting for James. She goes into the kitchen and finds like one last little cigarette and starts smoking it. And in the background, out of the shadows, appears the creepy figure with the mask. And so we realize that it's one of the strangers in the house. This is one of the creepiest parts of the movie because this is where we first see one of the crazy people, and it's just like, you know, like you just want to scream out like he's behind you, but you can't. So Kristen hears a door close in the house, and so she grabs a knife and she's freaking out. She goes to find her phone and the wire has been cut, so no hope of that. And then all hell breaks loose. They start banging, making noises. The record player starts playing in the house out of nowhere, and she's just like freaking out. She loses her mind. She runs into one of the bedrooms, is trying to get out. There's nowhere to run. And then everything stops and the music starts playing, and then we hear someone coming down the hall, and it's James. She tells James that she's been terrorized and he doesn't believe her. So he starts like surveying the house, check to make sure no one's there. He realizes that he left his phone in the car, so he goes to the car to try to get his phone, and then he sees that his car is all banged up. She tried to tell you. They go searching in his car looking for his phone, and someone touches him. He freaks out, goes crazy, and he sees one of the strangers, and it's time to go. They try to leave in his car, but then one of the strangers comes up in a truck and starts smashing their car, so they just get out and then run back into the house. They should have just left. But they go back inside, and James searches the house and he finds his dad's old gun. He starts putting it together, and then the strangers start hacking through the door with an axe. So James shoots at them and they think he's gone for now. They run in the closet and hide and just wait until one of them comes by so they can shoot him. But James' friend ends up coming by the house to pick him up. His friend comes inside the house and just sees that it's totally destroyed. He starts walking down the hall, and James thinks that it's one of the strangers, shoots, blows the hole in his friend's head, and then they're depressed and freak out and they've killed their friend. So then the strangers put killer on the window. I'm like, isn't that the pot calling the kettle black? I mean, you're here to kill them and you're calling them killer? James tries to run to the barn because he remembers that there's this old radio there and he's going to try to use it to call for help. But he gets snatched up when he gets outside, so Kristen's all by herself. She tries to run, but then she trips, hurts her leg. She crawls to the barn and tries to use the radio. It doesn't work. And then one of the strangers comes in and starts smashing up the radio. So then she crawls out back to the house. She tries to hide and they find her. So now like she comes out, she's face to face with all of them, and they bring James in and he tells her to run. She tries to run into the room and they end up making loud noises and terrorizing her again. They turn on the light. She finally slowly comes out of the room. So she gets snatched up, banged up, and then dragged into the living room. So now it's morning and they're tied up and they're face to face with the strangers, and they're just standing there staring at them and they're freaking out. They're all beat up, banged up, scared. So Kristen asks why they are doing this to them, and one of them responds,
"Because you were home."
Like, what kind of a response is that? Because you were home? Oh, okay, my bad. If I had known that this was the only reason why you attacked us, I would have been elsewhere. Like, that's just messed up, and it's creepy, and it's like so freaking creepy. Like, just because you were home, that's why we terrorized you all night long, and that's why we're gonna kill you now. Because you were home. No big deal. They just finally do it. They just start stabbing them up. Yeah, no happy ending here. Nobody got away. The killer wasn't killed. The victims were killed. And it's crazy. But then some little kids come and find their bodies and call for help, and that's a wrap. But then Kristen's like screams at the end of the movie. She's awake, she screams. So I don't know if she survived or not. That would be really interesting. I heard they're doing a Strangers Part 2, so it would be interesting if she's still alive or if it's just like a totally different story. Okay guys, so that about wraps it up for The Strangers. Very creepy film, so good. This is like one of my favorites now, and it's the scariest one of April, so you gotta check it out. It's really good, it's really scary and creepy. Watch it at night if you wanna really be creeped out and by yourself. But I would avoid that if possible. Okay guys, so that about wraps it up for this episode. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and tune in next time for a whole new episode of Scary Chat. Bye guys.